So more and more people are asking me, how high can Bitcoin go? And it's of course it's the $64 million question. Um, and I guess the key thing is, normally I would start by looking at the long term and narrow my way down to the short term. But actually, I'm going to just go the other way around. So I'm going to start really by looking just at the charts, and on the weekly, the daily, and the 60-minute chart, it's bullish above the cloud on all three time frames. So it's looking very bullish. And the fact that we broke this new high, driven by the Musk story, Tesla investing in Bitcoin. But regardless of why it's happened, the fact is we've broken to new highs. And this is a sideways consolidation, if you like. We've run up, and now we're going to resume, and it looks like we're resuming this ballistic pattern. So that's really key. Now, I guess in the short term, I would start by looking at the point and figure targets. So this is the 60-minute chart, and I probably would go just by looking at some of the targets here. So we've got a target to $51,000, another 9% higher. That's not yet activated. We do have a downside target that's activated, so that's quite key. If you're trading Bitcoin actively, you really do need to be using these targets. And then we can go down to the smaller targets still. And the 60-minute data starts to not become sufficiently granular. So you need to go to the 1-minute data. And if you're trading Bitcoin, these 1-minute targets generated in real time are an absolute must. This data is coming from Icon, but you could easily be taking it from one of the cryptocurrency platforms like Coinbase. That's who I use. So it's totally up to you how you pull the data in. But doing this analysis in real time, that's the real key. So perhaps another thing to do is just to think about the system testing of this, and I've just run a flip-flop stop loss system, and it suggests that on 60-minute data, the 9.5% stop loss versus the 3% short stop loss is the best to keep you in, and this would reduce your risk. And this is back tested on 60-minute data over the last couple of years. And so we're seeing 9% long, 3% short is what's worked. And of course, if you're trading again, you'll want to just keep rerunning those optimizations. And you can see all the trades here and the Sharpe ratios and everything from that trading system. This is called the flip-flop stop loss system. It's in the Updata library. So you can just grab it and test it. And the optimizations here are showing that around 3% on the short and 9.5% on the long. That region is where we're seeing the most traction. So and the equity line, which is the actual trading system, is actually outperforming Bitcoin quite a bit. So that's looking pretty good. But coming back to the longer term picture, how high can we go? And long term in the life of Bitcoin, of course, is really a question, and when will we get there is the bigger question. But what we're seeing is we're lining ourselves up for some targets here. So if I look at the daily chart, and this is a log scale 1%. So this is a true log scale 1% chart. And you'll notice here, this target was given back in August to 19,000. That target was given at 11,000 to 19,000. That's where we went. We reached there 2 or 3 months later. And then we had another breakout, and that gave us a target to $40,000. And that's where we went before we had the reversal and pullback. So we are now building up for another target. So this column isn't locked yet. So we can't actually say with any conviction that this is fixed, but this will lock when we get a 3% pullback in the price. But until then, it's going to keep generating a higher and higher target. But the current target, based on where we are now, we just hold it over there, is at it's $107,000. So it's 130% higher. Now that just seems so improbable, doesn't it? But that's ultimately, we need to see this column pull back and lock and then activate. So you've got to go higher to activate. So this target here was only activated when we went higher, the same with this one. And that's the key. If you've not done my point and figure course, you really do need to do that in order to understand it. So we've got a target there of $107,000. That's just sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? And of course, we have the same targets here on the 0.5% chart, and this one is not so clearly lining up the target. So the fact that what I could do is go to some even bigger box sizes. So I haven't done this, so it would be interesting to see. So we'll just run up through the box sizes, and if you go to something like 2.5%, do we get a target here? So 2.5%. We've got $65,000 as a target. So, and you just need to play around with the box sizes, use realistic numbers. So you could go all the way to 5%. Let's see what happens when we do that. You can see as we run through these, we've got 5% target, $78,000. So we've got some targets there, and these ones are activated, and this so it's really quite key. But if you are trading Bitcoin short term, you need to take account of these shorter term charts. If you're doing it as a long term play, then keep an eye on those charts. But do remember these optimized stops, 9.5% and 3%. So playing with Bitcoin and this level of volatility, of course, is playing with fire. But it's really interesting to see the targets. So have a go with your systems, keep monitoring it. And of course, you can add in the various crypto feeds and Updata to actually do that. From our light product at $9 a month upwards, all the way to our top of the range products, you can do this. So have a go.